So yeah, at your larger school districts, the majority, and I think that's been that direct correlation on why you don't have the multi-sport athletes, because like almost all of my varsity kids are playing club year round, and that's the same as North Allegheny, Seneca Valley, like all your big schools. That's what you have, and to be competitive, you would have to do that. Like if we just told our kids, "Oh, go play a sport in every season. You don't need to play club," we wouldn't be competitive, unfortunately. So we can say we support multi-sport athletes, but there's a direct correlation to the kids' development and skill level too.
Besides playing, I was playing soccer, kicking for the football team, playing basketball and baseball. So it wasn't the type of thing where you were just focusing like they do now. So many kids, no one focused on one sport. Everybody was not pushed, but you had the opportunity to play as many sports you wanted, and you weren't being like pressured by a coach to stay and focus on this year round.
You know, in those days, players could come in and play a couple sports. I had some of my players played volleyball, some played basketball, some were swimmers. But even by the time I left coaching at Fox Chapel, it was getting to the point there where, you know, you had to make a choice. And I had a really good player, but she was a brilliant swimmer, okay? And so she was as soon as soccer season ended, she was in swimming for like 9 months. But she hadn't touched a soccer ball for 9 months. So then she'd come back and she was behind all these other girls who had been working all year.
The shift from multi-sport athletes to year-round specialists is not restricted to one sport. Rather, the expectation of specialization is occurring at increasingly young ages in any sport where the chance to play professionally or internationally exists. Parents and children are aware of the potential payouts available as an elite athlete for either a professional contract or college scholarship. As professional sport has become a lucrative business, leagues and teams are willing to subsidize the cost of training youth athletes, with the hope of tapping into local talent and creating lifelong fans.
We felt that there was an opportunity to, because the way players develop, we didn't want to say we're going to bank on these 15 players at 10U and say they're going to be here forever. So what we said was we can take the best 40 players, 2 teams at each birth year, boys and girls the whole way up, and then try to develop those best players kind of in that same pyramid theory, that by the time they got to U15 and U16 and U18, that we've got the best kids here, and we know that because we had them through our system for years, and we've trained them, and you've gone through kind of all the hormonal growth, the physical growth, and now you know what the player is going to be like at that 16, 17 age. So we expanded the program from 14 to 22 teams when we opened this building up in 2010. And it's a model now that some of the other youth organizations have looked at to expand at the AAA level. And I know Cleveland's one that's already done this, and there's a few in the Midwest and the western side of the U.S. that are looking at this model as well. So we're really training 2 teams of kids at each birth year all the way up to 15s, and then we have 1 team at 15, 1 team at 16, 1 team at 18. Same thing on the girls, we have 10s and 12s, and then we go 1 team at 14, 1 at 16, 1 at 19s.
Having a professional organization like the Pittsburgh Penguins focus on developing local talent has intensified the professionalization of young elite hockey players in the city. Now, young players have the opportunity to train year-round with the Penguins organization and access the same level of resources as their role models.
So that we're getting that best group, we're training them, we're providing them with all of the amenities that the facility has to offer. We are testing them both on and off ice. We create a baseline based on their results, and then rank them amongst their peers so that they can see exactly where they stand at the beginning of the season versus the end of the season versus next season. And it's been really helpful. So we're utilizing the resources now that are available to us because of the facility to improve the game, use science and technology to improve the game, and give these kids a basis for where they are today, and give them programming and training opportunities that can get them, to that next level within this facility, and knowing exactly what they have to work on. So they go through a number of on-ice tests with and without puck, forward, backward, transitional skating. Then they go up in the performance space. They go through a bunch of strength and conditioning, speed and agility type tests, and then all that information is compiled into one sheet that gives them where they rank on ice and off ice, and then where they rank collectively, combined. So, at any point in time, the athlete knows exactly where they are and what they need to work on, and then we provide programming in the summer so that they know this is where I can come. They know what my deficiencies are and what I need to do to improve, so I can help improve those kids and move them on to the next level as well.
For soccer, the arrival of the Riverhounds has also accelerated the professionalizing process, with the team focusing training younger players than PA West clubs had previously, and emphasizing technical skills over fitness or tactics.
So when I first looked at the market, it was very, again, normal for Western PA to start their training at the ages of 12 and 13. So most of the teams in the area, the classic division clubs in the area, were starting at U12, U13. We decided to start younger, and really it was the idea was you start a high school with just a freshman class and then grow with them. So we started with 6 and 7 year olds the first year.
Like the level of professional kind of carries into the younger age groups, because even I know the Riverhounds, they start little kids at 5, and I think that they're trying to develop a mindset of I guess I don't know if it's a winning mentality or just this is what you need to do to get to the next level. So I think starting them young probably, I would assume, hopefully helps them get just a better understanding of soccer and bringing them to the next level.
I think I was 16 when I decided where I was going to college, and that's actually pretty late. Yeah. There was a girl on my team right now who's a freshman who committed right after me. So she was a freshman in high school and she committed to Pitt.
We've got kids freshman year committing collegiately, which is crazy because they've just turned 15. The men's side typically, so women's for Division I, typically by the end of sophomore year, if they're going to play Division I, they're committed. On the men's side, it's end of junior year, maybe even beginning of senior year. Now, part of that is because they haven't grown yet, I think, where the female athlete's done growing for the most part by freshman, sophomore year.
Although there are perceived benefits from the increased contact between professional organizations and youth players, in reality, the professional teams benefit much more. The chances of earning a professional contract are slim, and the financial investment is high for both hockey and soccer. A single player on an elite soccer team might pay as much as $10,000 in a single season between registration and travel costs. For youth hockey players, the average yearly cost is as much as $7,000, without any private training or travel. These high costs are not only a burden to families who can pay, but can also exclude kids from low-income and urban families, keeping both of these sports mostly suburban, wealthy, and white.
They can apply for supplemental funding, financial aid, depending on their status and that type of situation. But there's no scholarship from here or from the Penguins for that. It's really just going through whatever financial aid's available to them from an academic standpoint or from a needs-based standpoint.
The emphasis on pay for play became a major factor after that. Olympic development, even by the time I left ODP, was not about the best player that we could get from Western Pennsylvania. It was the best player who could afford to pay the cost of playing for us. And the same thing began to happen with the Classic League teams. If you're going to play Classic League, you better have some money or you better be able to raise money. So that was a very disturbing trend. And I remember...
Well, they charge a lot now, I guess, per family. I don't know if they have discounts, but as an example, the first year when I was at Stars United about 12, 13 years ago, I think each kid it was $1,000 per kid for the year. That doesn't include buying your uniform and hotel stays and everything with tournaments and things like that. And that's been up to $2,400, $2,500, and some clubs are charging $3,400 just to get in here. So that's paying a lot of the salary. It's always been upper middle class, I think. It's had a tendency in soccer to go to that just because of the amount of money. Well, the problem is, after you pay your $2,500, all of a sudden you have about three tournament dates in the fall. You have three in the spring. And if you take the family with you and you get a room, and it becomes a really expensive time. And now with what all these leagues are forming, we're in the Eastern Regional League, and you go to Virginia for 3 games. Like 2 of the teams are right now on the way to Delaware for 3 or 4 games. Then you have to, it's a league, but you're in different divisions in the league. And they sell it by saying that they're going to be coaches there watching you play. Well, okay, but I've been in admissions, and Tony and I both know over the years have known a lot of the coaches. Only smaller school coaches may show up for this, but these parents that are thinking that North Carolina, Duke, Indiana University are going to come to these they call them showcases. It doesn't happen as much as they think. It's